Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about whether the United States should adopt stricter food additives and labeling regulations similar to the ones used in the European Union. I chose this topic because food additives are something we come across every day, but most people probably don't think much about how they're regulated. During my research, I found that the US and the European Union have different ways of handling food additives. So I wanted to compare both systems and see which approach is more ethical. This presentation examines whether the United States should strengthen food additives and labeling regulations by adopting some practices used in the European Union. Why this issue matters. Food additives are used in a lot of the foods we eat every day. They're added for different reasons, like improving flavor, color, texture, or making food last longer. While doing my research, I learned that the United States and the European Union don't regulate these additives the same way. That made me wonder if one system does a better job of protecting consumers. This issue isn't just about food, it also involves public health, consumer rights, and how much responsibilities companies have to be transparent about what is in their products. This issue is important because everyone depends on safe food. While additives have benefits, people disagree about how strictly government should regulate them. In the United States, food additives are regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, or FDA. Before many additives can be used, they're reviewed to make sure they're considered safe. I also learned about the GRAS system, which stands for Generally Recognized and Safe. That means certain ingredients don't always go through the same approval process because experts already consider them safe based on scientific evidence. The FDA also continues monitoring food safety after products are on the market. Overall, the US already has regulations in place, but some people believe they could be improved. The European Union has a similar agency called European Food System Authority, or EFSA. Like the FDA, it reviews food additives before they're approved. But one thing that stood out to me is that the European Union regularly reviews additives again as new research becomes available. They also tend to make a more precautionary approach when it comes to food safety. Because of that, some people believe the European system gives consumers more protection and clearer information about what they're eating. Supporters believe stronger labeling and adapted reviews help protect public health without necessarily banning food additives. People who support stricter regulations believe consumers should always know exactly what is in the food they buy. Better labels make it easier for people to decide what they want to eat and what they want to give their families. Another argument is that reviewing additives more often helps make sure they are still safe as new scientific research becomes available. And like I said before, something I found interesting is that the most supporters Like I said before, something that I found interesting is that most supporters aren't asking to ban every food additive. They're mainly asking for better labeling, more transparency, and regular safety reviews. Opponents argue that the current system already provides protection and that more regulations could place unnecessary burdens on businesses. On the other hand, there are also good arguments against adding more regulations. Many people believe the FDA already has rules that protect consumers and approved additives are safe when they are used correctly. Another concern is cost. If companies have to meet more regulations, producing food could become more expensive. In the end, those extra costs could lead to higher food prices for consumers. So this side believes the current system already works well and doesn't need major changes. Each ethical theory looks at the issue from a different perspective. The paper applies all four before reaching a conclusion. To look at this issue from different perspectives, I apply these four ethical theories. Classical utilitarianism focuses on doing what's best for the greatest number of people, so stronger food safety could benefit more consumers. Preference utilitarianism looks at balancing what consumers want, like safe food and clear labels, with what businesses want, like keeping costs lower. Deontological ethics focuses on people's right to honest information, which means companies have a responsibility to clearly explain what's in their products. Finally, virtue ethics looks at honesty and responsibility, encouraging companies to act in a way that builds trust with customers. I believe the United States should adopt parts of the European approach by improving transparency and regularly reviewing food additives while avoiding unnecessary product bans, especially when it comes to food labeling and reviewing additives more often. I'm not saying every additive should be banned because many of them are considered safe. I just think consumers should have better information so they can make their own decisions. To me, improving transparency is a reasonable way to strengthen the current system without making unnecessary changes. To conclude, food safety is about more regulations. Honest labeling allows consumers to make their own informed decisions, making transparency the most ethical solution. To finish, I think both United States and European Union have systems that are meant to protect consumers, and both have their strength. However, after looking at the research, I believe there is still room for improvement in the United States. Better labeling and regular safety reviews could give consumers more confidence and help them make informed choices. Overall, I think that this is the most ethical approach because people have the right to know what they're eating and make decisions based on accurate information. For this presentation, I used information from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and the European Food Safety Authority. These sources help me understand how its system regulates food additives and made it possible to compare both approaches. Thank you so much for listening, and I'm happy to help to answer any questions.